Welcome to the Explainer. Let's jump right in, shall we? I've always wondered what actually makes a company tick under the hood. Today, we're going on a really fascinating journey to decode the hidden DNA of how businesses operate and evolved. And most importantly, we're going to focus heavily on the survival tactics of startups. We're talking about those intense, ground zero maneuvers they use just to stay alive in the very beginning. And then, we'll trace how those raw survival instincts eventually evolve in a massive global ambition.
So, think about this for a second. What does your local corner shop and that massive tech giant on your smartphone actually have in common? I mean, on the surface, literally nothing, right? But the truth is, they actually share the exact same fundamental DNA. They are both entirely driven by a programmed destination. And figuring out what that destination is, well, that is the real secret to understanding how any business, whether it's tiny or huge, actually works. And that brings us to the business aim. You can kind of think of this as the final destination that's plugged into a company's GPS. It's not just some fuzzy, feel-good wish on a vision board. No, it's the ultimate coordinate that keeps the business from driving completely blind. It literally dictates every single turn they make, whether that aim is to maximize profits, capture a huge chunk of market share, or honestly, just survive to see another day. It serves as the ultimate yardstick for every single decision.
But we really need to break that big journey down because there is a massive difference between an aim and an objective. So if the aim is the absolute final destination on your map, let's say a small candle shop aiming to hit 60,000 pounds in revenue. The objectives are the specific step-by-step roads taken to get there. An objective is a much smaller, highly targeted maneuver. It's like saying, okay, we're going to spend 5,000 pounds on Facebook marketing this October to boost our Christmas sales. You absolutely have to have those granular objectives to ever reach that big overarching aim.
Section 1, Ground Zero, Startup Survival.
This right here is the most visceral, high-stakes phase of any business lifecycle. Period. When founders first swing those doors open, it is pure, it's raw, and it is 100% just about survival. They're not dreaming of global domination or massive corporate buyouts just yet. Honestly, knowing that most businesses completely fail in their first year, they're really just praying to make rent and have enough cash in the register to open up again tomorrow. The entire list of aims has exactly one thing on it: survive. So what do these gritty survival tactics actually look like when you're on the ground? Well, the objectives are strictly defensive. It's this primal financial fight to build a foundation where they aren't making a profit, but they aren't making a loss either. They just need to break even. Your daily objective is literally just cover employee wages, pay the rent, and handle the business rates. At this critical stage, every single stakeholder, from the stressed out owner to the very first employee, is completely united by this one life or death goal. But financial survival isn't the whole story here. What actually gives a founder the sheer irrational willpower to endure that brutal first year? Usually, it's the psychological objectives. It's that immense personal satisfaction of turning a hobby into a real living. It's gaining true independence, or the absolute thrill of finally escaping a boring 9-to-5 career. And for some, it's a deep-seated commitment to an ethical or social issue. These personal non-financial aims, they act as the vital fuel that powers those intense early survival tactics.
Section 2, Evolving Beyond Mere Survival. Now, once a startup actually manages to survive, that GPS destination gets a massive upgrade. Business aims evolve in distinct phases. You start in phase 1, just fighting tooth and nail to survive, right? But once you're stable, you move into phase 2, where the goal shifts to actually turning a profit, bringing in more cash than you're burning. Then comes phase 3, real growth. Think opening new stores or scaling up. And finally, phase 4 is capturing market share, really dominating the game. Look at a company like Uber. They started in just one city in total survival mode to prove the concept worked. Then they exploded into this cash-burning global growth phase and eventually evolved into a giant where investors demand strict profitability. To achieve that kind of growth, those big overarching aims have to become incredibly granular objectives. Take the number 3,000, for example. If a growing candle company wants to seriously boost sales, they might set a very specific target: sell 3,000 vanilla candles this month. To make that happen on the ground, they'll task 10 employees with selling 300 candles each. Break it down like that, and it gives everyone a clear, highly specific goal to hit. That is exactly how you shift a company out of pure survival mode and turn it into an active, breathing growth machine.
Now let's look at that ultimate growth phase, market share.
The UK supermarket landscape is a perfect example because it is intensely competitive. You've got Tesco holding the biggest slice of the pie at 20%, followed by Asda and Sainsbury's at 16 each, but way down at 8% is Aldi. In this phase, a challenger like Aldi isn't just trying to survive anymore. Their core objective is to actively cannibalize Tesco's slice of the pie. They might aim to bump their share from 8 up to 10% over a single year. The ultimate long-term aim there, becoming the undisputed market leader. Section 3. Adapting to external forces.
Here's the thing, though. A business's GPS route is constantly recalculating because of external forces. A sudden economic shift, like a bad recession or a weak pound, can literally force a massive established company right back into those gritty startup survival tactics just to keep their heads above water. Then you have technology pivots. The explosion of e-commerce absolutely forced traditional brick-and-mortar retailers to completely rewrite their objectives to survive the online shift. And don't forget societal changes, like new employment laws or consumers suddenly demanding eco-friendly products. If a business doesn't adapt its objectives immediately to those forces, they risk losing their customers entirely.
Section 4. The Stakeholder Balancing Act. Now, adapting to the outside world is hard enough. But the crazy thing is, the unavoidable side effect of success is actually internal conflict. See, during that gritty startup phase, everyone was united by survival. But once a company gets big and profitable, a classic showdown emerges. On one side, you have shareholders who own the company, demanding maximum returns on their investment, which means relentlessly keeping costs low to max out profits. But on the exact opposite side, the employees doing the actual work are demanding better pay and improved benefits. The friction is incredibly real here because rewarding the employees directly cuts into the financial goals of the shareholders. So, who actually wins that massive tug-of-war? Well, there's no simple one-size-fits-all answer. The outcome of that stakeholder conflict completely depends on the fundamental structure of the organization itself. The playbook changes drastically depending on what kind of entity is trying to balance these competing demands. Let's break that down. For a huge private company like Tesco, the primary goal is crystal clear: maximizing shareholder profit. Simple. Now, flip that to the public sector, like the NHS. Their focus is entirely on delivering vital public services. Profit isn't even in their vocabulary. But then you have this really interesting middle ground, social enterprises, like The Big Issue. They actually have to utilize intense startup survival tactics just to break even financially. But here's the kicker. Instead of paying out massive profits to shareholders, they pump every single extra penny right back into their core social or environmental mission. Furthermore, these aims have to perfectly match the market context. Take Lush Cosmetics. They have this incredibly powerful, non-financial aim to completely end animal testing. It's core to their DNA, even if it costs them some profit along the way. But imagine if you took that exact same ethical objective and applied it to a local barbecue restaurant. I mean, it would be a complete disaster, right? You can't sell ribs while protesting animal use. The market context completely dictates what aims are actually realistic for a business. So we've journeyed all the way from the raw, desperate survival tactics of a ground zero startup right up to the complex, high-wire balancing acts of huge global corporations. We've seen that stakeholders hold real power, and managing them is absolutely essential. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Next time you buy a coffee, open up an app on your phone, or walk into a store, I challenge you to look right past their shiny logo. Ask yourself, what is their real mission? Where is their internal GPS actually taking them? And on this journey, who are they truly serving? The answer might just change the way you see the entire business world forever. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning what's behind the brands you interact with every single day.